After watching this, you won't go back to MPC 2.0. Now keep in mind, this is still the beta version, so you're gonna have a couple of issues then and there. Don't worry, because I promise you the new features and the workflow is just gonna outweigh all of that. And the arranger mode, they killed it. And you wanna watch to the end, because seeing the process with the new features is really what's gonna make up the workflow, and you're gonna be able to see how there's gonna be things that 2.0 can't do that 3.0 can do. So let's get into it. Now starting off, before we get into making a beat, you wanna have a good setup so your workflow could be more efficient. So we could look at the sidebar right here, and mine's is gonna be different from yours because I actually swapped them out with different menus. So let's actually click on menu, and you can actually just drag and drop into the place that you want it. And what I did was I had save at the top because it just made sense to have it very easily accessible instead of going to the menu screen like we had to do in 2.0 just to save it. So now we could just have it right at our main screen and save our projects just like that. And then I have track edit, which is program edit. You're going to be going through that a lot, especially if you're using like key groups. And then I have the arranger, just making it easily accessible because the arranger is actually different from the grid view, and we're going to get more into that. And you can see I have grid view right below the arranger, and you can also swap from up here. But it's good to just have the arranger here because there's not like a set button. And for you, you probably have your pad mixer and your channel mixer already on your sidebar, but I don't think you really need that because you could just click mix and it will go to your channel mix, and then it goes into the individual pads, and then so on and so forth. And then for the last one, I just put looper. Now you can swap this out with new projects if you're not using looper a lot, but keep watching because you're going to see how looper could be very useful just having it at the sidebar menu, especially because there's not a quick button to get to it, just like how we have the bottom menus below. That's why I wouldn't use the browser. Some of you guys probably have the browser already there. You don't need that because you can just double click menu. Same thing as 2.0. So if you do have my ebooks, yes, it does cross over very well. Now the second thing is this template we have right here. So for me, I like to start off with a clear project, and I'm pretty sure you do too. You would just go to menu, go to preference, and then you want to scroll all the way down to project load and save. And right at the top where it says new project behavior, you want to change that from factory project to empty project. And then also, if you see right here, new project dialog, you can still have that 2.0 feel where you had a demo set up, or you could pull up your recent project that you had before and, you know, demo template recent. It gives you those options when you start it up, but I'm gonna keep those off. So now we can just reset our project so you can see how it starts up. So let's just hit the power switch, shut it down. So now you can see that there's no template pulled up, and it actually starts you with a drum program. Now there's nothing loaded in the drum program, so this is still an empty thing. But if you want to like put up a plugin or anything like that, you can actually swap it out by hitting the icon. Not just hitting it like right here. That's not gonna do anything. You have to hit it next to where the icon and the number 1 is, and then you can switch that out for a plugin. There we have it. The way you will also add your tracks is just bottom left corner where it says new tracks. You could just add a new track, and it could be an audio, drum, plugin, key group, MIDI, or CV. And another cool thing that 2.0 can do is the advanced feature where I could load up, you know, let's say I know I'm gonna use like 3 sounds or something like that. I could load up 3 instances right away. Or let's say, you know, for the drum program, I want to load up, you know, 3 drum programs. I could do that right away as well. But I'm going to just leave it how it is. Let's just get started into making our beat. So right off the back, if we want to access the editing for our plugins, that's why I say track edit is good to have it right here, because boom, simple as that. And you can also hit from right here. And we could just click in same way as 2.0. And we can find a preset that we like. I'm gonna go to the pianos, Melancholy octaves, and let's lay down a melody. But I'm gonna actually go to the arranger mode, and we're gonna do it from here so you guys can really start getting an idea of how this workflow is gonna be. Now right here, we could also change the tempo, and I'm gonna go ahead and change it to something like 146. Press do it. And then if you do shift and 16 levels, it's still the same as 2.0 to get the pad perform. And another thing that I like about the 3.0 and pad perform is that it's going to keep the same key you have in your projects. So if you load up any of your projects and you know it was in a different key, it's not going to be like 2.0 where it goes back to like A major or something like that. It's going to stay in the key that it was originally in when you did your beat. All right, so I want to choose the key of C minor, so I could just switch that, and then we could go back to main menu, go to our arranger, and we could just lay down a melody. And then I just want to add like a bass note. Want to go to a lower octave, shift in 16 levels, and then I could just bring it down an octave from here. Because if you bring it down an octave from here, it kind of goes down like 2 octaves. Then we could go back to grid view just by double tapping, or we could be in the arranger mode as well and just overdub that. So that's cool. And another thing that I like is right here, I could just press add, and then I could add a plugin or a drum program. And in this instance, I could just add another plugin, and I could also just hold down onto the plugin that I already have and choose to copy that track over. So now I have a copy of that track. And if I go to the main menu, you can see that it's been a duplicate. Going back, then we could lay down another melody, probably be in a higher octave. So for this, I actually want the melody to be longer. So what I can do is just go to edit and then just do double the length. And I could just zoom out, and then I could just come back in at this point, and I could just press erase. Wherever my loop is going to be able to erase that section. Then I could just hop back in. And then you could always just bring the loop back, and you could always click back in, fix up your notes if you need to. We could edit the ends if we wanted to. And the quicker way to actually edit the ends is go to TC, scroll all the way to legato, press do it, and you can see that it does it. And we could just edit that last part and then bring that back down. Now we could get into adding some effects, and this is actually the fun part, because if I hit mix, you can see that both of my plugins is pulled up. If I hit right here where it says effects, now it's just like FL Studio or any DAW where you have your tracks all lined up. Now, yes, it does have it in 2.0, but this seems a lot more seamless, because now I can just see where I could put effects on any sounds that I want, especially when you start building out all your tracks. So for the first one, all I have to do is just click in here. I think I want to apply a half speed, so go to modulation and let's try half speed. And the cool thing is, let's say I just want to hear that by itself, I could just press solo. I could take it off of solo, and I could add an effect to the melody. So I actually want to add a half speed as well. And then for the first track, actually, I want to go to the main, and then I want to bring it up an octave. And I can easily do that just by going down to transpose and then just going up 12. And then I want to add more to the melody. So let's try air delay. I like the repeater 16 delay. And we could also go to the second plugin and bring that up as well, another octave. And then I actually want to add another delay, so let's just go back in. I really like the air delay, and I like the preset called Follow Me. But turn down the mix level. And then there's one more effect. I want to go into flex beat, so let's go to our harmonics. Scroll all the way down to flex beat. Put some kind of glitch on it. That's hard, and I think I might just switch this one out for like a lead sound. So then we go to our arranger, we get to see that, okay, we got our melodies and everything sounds good. What I want to do is actually make an audio file, like as if I was in FL, you know, just bounce it into a WAV file. And you could do that from here. You could just hold down and you could do bounce to audio tracks. I wouldn't do bounce to sample, because bounce to sample, from what I remember in 2.0, it just goes into the MPC internal hard drive, and you don't want to really save anything in there. So I would rather just do bounce to audio track anyway. But I'm actually thinking about the intro, and I just want to actually have the audio track for both sounds instead of having to do it individually. So what I would do is just go to main, and then I would just go to looper. And then from the input, I would change the input, go all the way down to resample left and right, and press record and record that. And here's the cool part. You get to export it to an audio track, and it will go right to the arranger. But able to do that, if I click on it, you can see there's no audio track set up. So I have to go back to main, and then I just have to add an audio track. So when I do that, I could go back to looper and do export to that audio track. then hit main, and then you will see it pop up right here. And then if we go to the arranger, now you can see it's also in the arranger itself. And we'll get back to this once we start arranging the beat. And I could even just hold down on the track, only for the audio tracks though, and then I could press mute. So for right now, I could just have that on mute. All right, so you already know I gotta get into the drums. So let's go hit another track and let's do our drums. And we could go back to main and we could hit browse so we can find our drum sounds. All right, that's cool. So the only thing about the note repeat, it doesn't work in the arranger mode, so we could just switch back to grid view. I kind of butchered the hi-hats, but that's fine. It still sounds cool. And I just kind of want to turn down my hi-hats too. So another cool thing is you press mix again, and then you get to the individual pass. I really enjoy like this leveling in this way, man. You just see everything straightforward. And for the hi-hats, I want to just go to the effects and put like an air delay on it. Let's see how that would sound. So I think I just want to turn this down, you know, a tad bit. All right, so let's add in some open hats. So let's add in that bouncy snare. And then for the mix, I actually want to add like another Air Delay Pro on the open hat. So let's do that. I want to try this preset from the drum section. It's called Multiple Hats. Sound clean. Let's just bring down the mix level. All right, so that sounded good. So now it's time for our 808s. So what I'm gonna do is add another track, and then this time it's gonna be a key group, and then we could just go in, load our 808. Yeah, gotta have a nice sounding 808. Hit the pad, press load, and I could just go to track edit real quick and just do all those quick functions like put it in mono, put it in one shot. Now the only weird thing is that you don't hear anything playing. So go back to track edit, go to sample, and you can see that nothing has been loaded. I don't understand that either, but it might just be a beta thing. But either way, you can just click in the sample, go to memory, and we can just load that 808 and we'll have it. Bring this down, go to main, go to our arranger. So obviously the 808 is super loud, and we could just, you know, go back here and just level it out. Now, one quick thing before we get into the arranger, you're probably wondering how you could order your tracks and rename them. So let's just do that real quick. What you actually have to do is just hold down on the track you're on, and then you can just click where it says name. And I'm just gonna make this the lead, press close. So now it's lead, and then you just do the same right here where it says name. This is the piano. Now the cool part about 3.0 and that you can't do in 2.0 is to reorder tracks. They finally listen. If I hold back down, you can see where it says position. Position just means where do you want this track to be. It could be track 4 or track 3. So if I put it to track 3, Now my 808s is on track 3. And I could hold down main and you can see how you could just move everything around to where you want it. But I actually like the order that it was in before, so I could just push this back to track 5 and press close. So now let's get into our arranger mode. So right off the back, we have our loop going on right now, which is 8 bars. Now what I want to do is just do this step by step. I just don't want to double the pattern until it's 64 bars. It could get messy this way. What I would rather do is just go to edit, just double the length once. So now you can see that I have 16 bar loop and I could bring this down. So for the first 4 bars, I just want to work with, and I just actually want this audio track to be playing. So even though you can't use the track mutes in the arranger like how you could do with the audio clips, it's not really a big deal because once you have this loop like locked in, I could click on the track that I want and then I could just press erase and then it's automatically going to see the loop that I have already, and I could just press do it and it's going to erase that section. And I could just do that for all the other tracks. So do that for the drums, do it, and the 808, do it. And then I could just turn this back on mute. And also what I can do is go into this audio file, so I could just drag this up. I just want to chop like this first section. So the way I would go about chopping this, because using the scissors can get very, sloppy like that, and we don't want that. We want nice clean chops. I just use the loop cursor to put me right on to where I want it. I want it to be on that fit bar. And then for some reason, you got to click on the sample first, so that, these options at the bottom can pop up. I don't know why, but it did that in 2.0 as well. Then I could just, unmute it, whatever. I could keep that section muted. I could press split. Now that is a perfect split. When I come back here, what I can do is hold this down and press reverse. And even for this part, we could go back in and we could just mute this. Dude, that is hard, man. So now you can see you don't really need a track mutes, but I do hope that they have that option just like how they have it with the audio tracks. It will make the workflow more efficient. So now we could just focus on this part right here. So right here, this is a 4-bar loop, but typically we want our chords to be 8 bars. So what we can do is we could just press edit, copy those bars. We could put it right between 13. We could just copy those bars, and then since we already have that section loop for 4 bars, we only need to copy it once, and we're gonna do it right after bar 12. So let's do replace. So now we have those 8 bars right here. And then from here, what we can do is just copy those bars again, and then do replace. So now these are our 8 bars right here. And then for this section, this is another 8 bars. What we can do is just swipe down to this last 4 bars and copy that and do replace. So now we have our hook, and then we have our verse, which is going to be 12 bars. So this is 4 bars, 4 bars, and 4 bars. So 4 times 3, that's a 12-bar verse. And I like to do that for my trap beats. So now for the verse part, what I can do is, switch it up. I could even click back into my track and, I could add like a different melody on top. You could do all kind of stuff, and you could add in air candies and stuff like that. But what I want to do is just probably take out the melody for that first section. So I could go to like the first 4 bars, and remember, you could just always hit erase and then press do it, and then we could just play from here. And then let's say I wanted to drop out the drums, I could just easily press erase and it will erase that part of the drums. And then once you have like pretty much that selection, you could just zoom out and go all the way back to your hook, copy this whole thing over, and then just press replace. And then now you have like your whole song just like that, man. Come on, man. You can't tell me you're gonna downgrade after this, bro. Like, this is just way too efficient. Now, I do get if you wasn't on a DAW before, this may seem very new and foreign to you, but I promise you, like, as far as making the music on any device, a linear workflow is more ideal, and you'll start to see the more you mess with it. So like and subscribe, share with your other producer friends if you found this helpful. Until next time, peace.